1 2 1 2. Test 1 2. Microphone check.
Mic check. Mic check 1 2. Ladies and gentlemen, 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Vincent. Hope you're all doing good. One, two, 1 2. Vincent, Bambucha, mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2.
1 2 1 2.
Vincent, oh, ladies and gentlemen, Innocent. How you doing, Innocent? Innocent from Chira. 1 2. 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2. 1 2. Vincent. Good afternoon, Vincent. Vincent. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2 3 4. Vincent. Good afternoon, Anna. Good afternoon. Tuli tutya wano Vincent. Tudde ku ndala kale. Mic check 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Hope you're having a very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Mic check 1 2. Kachaku. Oba kuliko gye totaddeko endala? Ngende ku ndala mbere kweno? Oba waliwo gye tutaddeko wano? Mic check. Bambucha. Ebe bambucha. Mic check 1 2. So omuntu wonna tulina obukebera. Toba eyisa tudde ku ndala Wanji? Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Mic check Mic check. Tutusewa. Wanji? Mic check 1 2. 1 2. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Zinonzijako eh? Mic check. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Vincent on the ones and twos. Vincent representing. Vincent, our sound engineer. Good afternoon, Vincent. Mic check. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Vincent, how are we doing? Yo. Bambucha 1 2. Mic check. Mic check. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. Mic check 1 2. 1 2. 1 2.
Sorry,
1 2.
Are you addressing us in this meeting? I don't know what's going on. Are you addressing us? I just need clarity on what you're doing.
Huh? Mic check. 1 2. 1 2 3 4. Mic check. 4 5. Mic check. Mic check 1 2. 8 7 8 7. Vincent Bambucha 1 2. 1 2. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. 1 2. Vincent 1 2 1 2 1 2. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Vincent. Mic check. 1 2. 1 2 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Vincent. Mic check. Mic check 1 2. 6 7 8. Good afternoon. Checho, eh?
Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check check. Check check. Check 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 check.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
Hey, check 1 2. Check 1. Hey, hey. Hey. Check. Hey. Hey, 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 hey. Check 1 2. Hey. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, 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 hey. Check 1 2. Hey. Hey, hey. Check, check.
One man, one city, one night, one street, one journey, one dream. One chance, one opportunity. You know, get as the matter one be. Nobody can be like me. So many sacrifices. Simoti pele dami soro. Simoti gbadura the call. But them people say, what's up for me? Kill on shit. Me so fool. We dancing. What's up for me? Kill on shit. Me so fool. We dancing. What's up for me? Kill on shit. Me so fool. We dancing. What's up for me? Kill on shit. Me so fool. We dancing. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. But I see, yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. But I see, yeah. What I see, my guy, what I see. The people with me, they ate the plenty. They be the whip me, I fail patiently. They want steal my shine on your shit. I'm just trying to survive, I just wanna win. But these enemies, they won't turn on me. Simoti pela jami sora. Simoti padura ni kora. But them people say, what's up for me? Kill on shit. Me some fool. What I see? What's up for me? Kill on shit. Me some fool. Get us.
You tell me about the other day, but my new way come in heart. Devoted like I am a religion. When I hear the boom, all I do is want to do my thing. But I get on touch a bit all the side things just be played. And they know my baby give me them.
check, check, check. Check, 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 check. Check, 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 check.
If the road ahead is not so easy, our love will lead the way. Just like a guiding star, I'll be there for you if you should need me. You don't have to change me. I love you just the way you are. So come with me and share the view. I'll help you see forever too. Hold me now, touch me now. I don't wanna live without you. Nothing's gonna change my love for you. You ought to know by now how much I love you. But one thing you can be sure of, I'll never ask for more than your love. Nothing's gonna change my love for you. You ought to know by now how much I love you. The world may change my whole life through, You're welcome, members. Members who are still out, please, we have a panel session and we have an online audience. Mr. Sim Katende, are you asking them about the Coca-Cola bottle you asked me in orals? All right, we shall be starting anytime because we have an online audience. This is the land panel. We all know that land is still the biggest and the major factor of production. And without land, surely our practice would be nowhere. Ushers, please usher the people in. We are going to start anytime because my panelists are already here. Technical team, as members come in, you can also open up for the online audience. But as we start, the discussion on land has a concept note of about 15 pages. That shows you how serious this matter is. But most critical, we have brought panelists who everyone here has a question about, something to ask, something to talk about. We have people from people who have a yafe, they're in the house. We have commissioner land registration. So many questions have been around. How do you have two titles and you have it on your white paper or, I don't know, cadastral or something? How do two titles go onto one piece of land? He is here to guide us, but more so on the key challenges and opportunities that we can delve into. We have senior practitioners who are yet to join us. Among them is a well-known and renowned Peter Warubiri. It has been said about him that in land litigation, a judge can even stop a session to inquire from him, to have an opinion against his party. And he gives that opinion and is satisfied that despite the fact that he represented the plaintiff, the decision which is against him is not appealable. He will be joining us anytime. Technical team, please confirm to me that the online audience is up and set. All right, I'll straight away call to the podium the present panelists. My name is Philip Munabi. Our theme for this particular session is an in-depth exploration of the latest developments and future in land law, focusing on legal, regulatory, and practical aspects that are shaping the land sector in Uganda. I'll straight away welcome on podium Mr. Kizito Bashir. I last properly knew him when he was manager land at Buganda Land Board, but now he is Deputy CEO and Manager Operations, Buganda Land Board. Kizito Bashir is a key figure in land management and administration, with significant contributions to modernizing operations of Buganda Land Board. He has been pivotal in introducing digital systems to improve efficiency and transparency in land management. His expertise extends to developing policies that enhance land security and streamlining dispute resolution processes within Buganda Kingdom. His key skills include land management, policy development, operational efficiency,
digital transformation, and dispute resolution. I know him for a fact that he was the brain behind Echapa Mungalo. I also know him for a fact that he is behind a digital card at BLB, where all your details on what we would call a title on Kabaka's land are stored or kept for ease of management of your land. He is a very pivotal figure. He has risen to the position of Deputy CEO, Buganda Land Board, or BLB, as we know to call it. I also know that he's a surveyor, and he has legal training, so he's the right person to be here with us this afternoon. I'll welcome on the podium Mr. Becca Mogaino. His current role is Commissioner Land Registration. Becca Mogaino oversees land registration processes. He must be the brain behind EMZOS. He has a focus on enhancing efficiency, transparency, and security of land transaction. He has led significant reforms to modernize land registration, including digitization of land records to combat fraud and ensure reliable public access. His work is essential in building public trust in land administration systems and supporting the legal framework that governs the registration of land in Uganda. His key skills are land registration, reform, compliance, public administration, and putting in place anti-fraud measures. Though the question still lingers that we still have cases where we have 2 land titles on one piece of land. In a chat outside, he told me he has the best opportunity to share with us today. It might cause some uproar, but he will be giving us the detail of it. I have not yet seen Mr. Peter Walubiri, who is a legal practitioner in land disputes, and Sarah Banenya, an academician and practitioner. However, we shall start. And I'll start with Mr. Bashir Kizito. Off the cuff, does Buganda Land Board issue land titles?
Such a question coming from a lawyer, you have to consider it in serious thought. But for a fact, yes, land titles are issued on Kabaka's land. So who issues? It's a combination of Buganda Land Board and, of course, the Ministry of Land.
Yes, thank you. Technical team, please increase the volume on the panelists' microphones. That question is part of the disputes that we receive as advocates. I processed my land with Buganda Land Board. They gave me a title. Now he has a dispute, but he's uncertain of where to go. Mr. Bashir, please also kindly tell the audience about 2 things. What advancements in land management systems have you come up as Buganda Land Board? And what do you have there? What advancements over the years? And also hint on the impact of digitalization systems and processes that you have at BLB. Thank you.
I don't know if my presentation...
Technical team, we have a presentation from BLB. Kindly put it up. technical team. I think it's ready. Let us have the slides up. Ken and team. What is not happening?
But as they work on having the systems go on, we can have some conversation. There are quite a number of advancements happening at Buganda Land Board. Very many, I think they've finally succeeded. It is my honor and privilege to be part of this very big stage, one that has been graced by very historical figures in the legal framework. So permit me from Buganda Land Board to deliver this presentation, citing the various key developments we had and showcasing some future trends, but equally delivering some little piece of information regarding who Buganda Land Board is. Obviously, addressing such a gathering and preferring to tell them a little about Buganda Land Board seems like a mockery. But I can tell you from experience, this is equally important. So we will proceed to the next slide. Kindly, please proceed. Who is Buganda Land Board and what are we? We are an agent.
For a good visual, can we please come in front, occupy the front seats?
We are an agent of the Kabaka of Buganda, incorporated as a private limited company, fully owned by the Kabaka of Buganda. We manage all those assets and properties that were returned to the Kabaka of Buganda. It is very important to distinguish the current Buganda Land Board, the one I've just described, from the 1962 Buganda Land Board. That one which was a creation of the law. So the Buganda Land Board of 1962 was responsible for public land management, whereas the Buganda Land Board I serve is responsible for managing assets and properties returned to the Kabaka of Buganda. And when I talk about the Kabaka of Buganda, he is a corporation soul with perpetual succession, with powers to sue and be sued. And of course, every asset and property that was returned to the kingdom is registered to the Kabaka of Buganda as the proprietor. This is very important. We no longer have registered proprietors in the names of the Namasole, the Katikiro, Saza chiefs, etc. All the official estates of the kingdom are registered into the Kabaka of Buganda. And what are some of the assets and properties under our jurisdiction? A host of them are listed under the schedule to the law, the Traditional Rulers Restitution of Assets and Properties Act, but others emanate from the same clauses of that law. So that map highlights the location of part of this land. The over 1,000 square miles are not situated in one particular place, but rather located in various counties, all making up Buganda Kingdom. So we don't have the 1,000 square miles in one place, but rather spread all over Buganda. There is a problem with the technology here, but maybe Buganda Land Board will think about offering a service to the hotel. Some common points of confusion amongst the legal practitioners. We've had people come to us and say that your assets were returned to you. How is it that when we carry out land searches, we still receive reports of Uganda Land Commission being the registered proprietor? In fact, some have used such feedback to contest the ownership by the Kabaka of Buganda. Now, I want to refer you to sections 2, subsection 1, 2, and 4 of the Traditional Rulers Act, where you'll find out that all those assets were transferred to the Kabaka of Buganda without recourse to anything else or any other assurance other than that act. So it does not matter that we have not succeeded or we have not completed converting or I'm trying to recall the term I should use, changing all the land titles from the Uganda Land Commission, vesting. We have not succeeded in vesting the land titles in the Kabaka of Buganda. It doesn't matter. For as long as they form part of the assets and properties under the Act, then it is immaterial what the register records. And then there are claims by the administrators of the estate of the former office bearers. It's not uncommon that you'll find administrators of the estate of Daudi Chwa. You'll find administrators of the estate of a known Katikiro of Buganda, a former Mulamuzi, a former Mwanika, a former Kagor, or any other name or title that was given to the office bearer then. The children and administrators have often disturbed the public, including the lawyers, into thinking that such properties belong to them. But I will tell you that this, for as long as they're referring to official estates, then all those are vested under the Kabaka of Buganda. And so you should not have that confusion. You should not participate in that confusion. Of course, this is fortified by a case I've cited. There's a civil suit 535 of 2017, where a court has pronounced itself on this matter. I know so many lawyers have been confused. We have such estates where that confusion is ongoing. Kazi, Scoutsland, etc. is the most recent, but that is part of the official estates of the Kabaka of Buganda. Then 3 is the issuance of freeholds and continued transactions by district land boards on Kabaka's land. As you should know, land under the Kabaka of Buganda is under the official mile tenure. So it is not permissible that we would have a competing interest like freehold. So people are misusing the sections 9 to 14 and 28 of the Land Act, permitting for conversions of leases to freeholds, permitting applications for freeholds to convert leases that were issued to them in the periods when the land had not reverted to the Kabaka of Buganda, to apply and have conversions to freehold. This is a very common thing, and for some reason the land office usually fails to detect these official estates. But the beautiful thing is, whenever we appeal to the commissioner registration to have these freeholds cancelled, he has always cancelled them. So you should know, stand informed, that freeholds cannot be issued on Kabaka's land. And equally, leases that were issued on Kabaka's land between the period 1967 to 1993 cannot be converted to freehold land. One thing that distinguishes Buganda Land Board, or for that matter the Kabaka of Buganda, as a very special registered proprietor is our ability to recognize the rights of tenants by occupancy as declared by Section 31 of the Land Act. You're aware so many registered proprietors have problems with collecting busul. So many registered proprietors have problems with empowering the tenants on their land such that the statute of tenure is amplified. But that is different with the Buganda Land Board. We encourage our tenants to register and pay nominal ground rent, but we equally teach them on the advantages of having land titles. So it is a two-pronged approach. One that keeps them at a basic level of simply being tenants by occupancy, but two, advancing their status to a leasehold. And in the picture there, you can see one of such sessions where we are sensitizing the public on the advantages of having regularization of their tenancy. Our leases stretch to up to 99 years. And beyond the recognition of rights of these tenants by occupancy, we equally recognize the obligations of these tenants on Kabaka's land. So as we strive to strengthen their status, we equally remind them of their obligations to the landlord. And as you can see, we've cited quite a number of cases where a breach of such obligations has warranted the sanction of such cases. So we have citations of cases where on Kabaka's land, lack of subdivision consent has led to the cancellation of such a subdivision. We've had a very recent case where a lack of consent to mortgage led to some person losing their registration. And then, of course, the usual lack of consent to sell. There are quite a number of cases, but these ones specifically refer to Kabaka's land. It is important to know, especially for this congregation, that Kabaka's chiefs do not act for the Kabaka. We quite have a number of Kabaka's representatives doing different roles, but many a time lawyers have fallen prey to these cunning individuals who will pose to sign on behalf of the Kabaka when dealing on such land transactions. Now we have that case that tells the whole story. Chiefs cannot cannot offer consent on behalf of the Kabaka. That consent is offered by the Kabaka's agent, who is Buganda Land Board. So now, the theme, those things were important because I thought for such a very important gathering, it would be unfair that I would leave this stage without reminding you on some of those salient aspects that I've just presented. Now, what innovative approaches to land management have we championed as Buganda Land Board? When you read receiving nominal ground rent and promoting leases, it could sound so basic until you understand that this is a sole attempt trying to solve the land impulse on Mairo land. There we have a situation where landlords are claiming market value for ground rent. We have a government and its policies advocating for nominal ground rent. So this position by Buganda Land Board tries to offer a win-win situation for both entities. By receiving ground rent, we are promoting all those who need security of tenure, but they cannot progress beyond having certificates of occupancy. But by promoting leases on Mairo land, something which is even advocated by the land policy, we are giving something back to the registered proprietors, saying that yes, you can get market ground rent and premiums if these clients can upgrade and get leases on your land. So what we are doing on Mairo land with Kabaka's land can actually be replicated on Mairo land by several other landlords. We are addressing the challenges of leaseholds in the country. So many people are, and of course, so many people, including the literate, are worried, and rightly so. They're worried of the reversion aspect, that you are surrendering your status as a tenant by taking up a lease, and you're losing your rights once this lease expires. So we've offered some modifications in these routine lease terms, and Buganda Land Board leases have special terms that qualify what you would call a tenant at sufferance. They qualify them back to their original status as a tenant by occupancy. So they don't just lose their right, but rather we've put a clause that takes them back to the status they had right before the lease. So that is an attempt to address some of the challenges that people pose when the fear to participate, when the fear to acquire leases on any kind of land. So we think such innovative approaches can be a good buy-in for anybody, even for government, when they are offering leases to people. Then, of course, we have modified the aspect of having to build, the building covenant to qualify for a full term. Now, when you come to Buganda Land Board, we actually no longer offer 5-year leases. Somebody qualifies automatically for the 49-year lease, even if they don't have a building on the land. Now, those are innovative approaches trying to read the minds of the people not interested in acquiring leases. 3 is increasing awareness through partnerships and collaborations. As you'll see later, I'll have some photographs where we're taking up a lead position in creating awareness amongst our masses, and in some situations, even using the local leaders amongst them. We've had several platforms where we invited the Minister of Lands. We've had several platforms where we invited the local leaders right from LC5 to LC1 to participate. And this is a buy-in. People then have such much trust knowing that whatever you're preaching or teaching or telling them can actually be censored by their own leaders. And then, of course, partnerships with organizations such as FIDA, partnerships with the CSOs, several CSOs in the country, to build trust and carry on information regarding awareness and land rights onto the public. We are facilitating land registrations through creating funding opportunities. We know everything said and done, it is possible that people will fail to register simply because they lack the finances. Now we have moved an extra mile, worked tri-party agreements with financial institutions where these financial institutions can extend credit to Buganda Land Board on behalf of the people so that we can process land titles on their behalf, and then they can pay back the funds in a manner that is acceptable to the financial institution. The fact that we have participated in forging these agreements is a vote of thanks, is a vote of trust by the tenants, knowing that even the landlord has participated in vetting, the landlord is participating in negotiating interest rates. So in a way, we are creating funding opportunities for the people, the tenants on Kabaka's land. We are promoting individual household development using land resource as an asset. We know land is nothing until it is registered. If we register land, then we've opened it for all kinds of value. They can use this land for seeking mortgages, personal development, protection, growing, commercial foods, etc., when they have fully registered this land. Then there comes the question, the first question the moderator offered. Do we make land titles? Yes and no. Yes, because we are a one-stop center. A person walks to Buganda Land Board, and then they will next come back to receive their land title. We do all the other donkey work. We'll help them with the surveys. We'll help them with processing the results of the survey. We'll help them with processing the land title with the Ministry of Land, and then comfortably hand their land title to the client. So it's understandable when some clients get confused to think that probably the land titles are made at Buganda Land Board. But this confusion does not stop with the clients. At some stage, we've even seen government becoming part of this confusion. During the Chapa Mongalo time, we had a team from the ministry who came to inspect to see and confirm that land titles were not made at Buganda Land Board. So that is the effect of our one-stop center. Enough to even convince government that probably the land titles are issued at Buganda Land Board. We run an outreach of several branches trying to extend our services to the people. So it's not enough to ask people to come to our headquarters. Now we move to where they are. And those who have been quite familiar with our services, the Chapa Mongalo scheme was one of those outreach activities where we drove the masses right from their own homes to participate in this exercise of initially registering or documenting their rights, then proceeding through surveying and acquiring a Chapa Mongalo. This wouldn't be possible without that network. Now, those are some of the photos that show what I've been talking about, creating awareness, using even some of the leaders. We use all forums, radio, TV, everything, as you can see. And you can see some of our leaders, the minister and the LC5 chairperson, Wachiso. At Buganda Land Board, it's not just about land management. You can see we participate in activities that make people see that we are part of them. We engage in health camps, we donate blood, we participate in sports with the communities, we're gender conscious, we encourage gender mainstreaming. So quite clearly, we are not just an entity that is after managing land. There is something to do with further innovations. Something I met when I arrived here. Something to do with using technology in as part of these innovations. We know that fraud on land transactions is such a menace in the country, and you don't have to look very far to see the source of such fraud. We only became a country where every person was registered with a national identity card just 10 years ago. It was, I think, 2012 when photographs and IDs were admissible at the registry of the Ministry of Lands. Prior to that, all land records, all the transactions didn't even need to have a photograph or ID. So you can imagine the country we have been. Now, the cases of impersonation and all such related fraud have been on a rampant. So we decided as an organization to champion using biometric technology on security of tenure. Biometric technology is greatly in use in banks, greatly in use in access of premises, but not very much used in land management. So we pioneered in Uganda, and of course I know even in Africa, using biometric palm vein technology, attaching details of somebody's biometric to their land records, such that when they come to transact on land, such transaction cannot proceed except if the biometric matches. Now, I speak this with a lot of pride that when we took up to use the palm vein, it is because we had made a thorough study, scientific study, on the best biometric to use. The palm vein is internal to our skin. It is not something that is external. And that means it is very hard to forge. Every one person has a single vein pattern in their body. A single vein pattern. So when we use the palm vein, we're using the most secure biometric, and this time attaching value to it, attaching land transactions. So it's not enough to preach to people to secure their land by registering it when they can lose it by lapses in identifying them. So that's why we went for the highest technology to ensure that whoever succeeds in registering their land, then they can stand certain that their registration is going to serve a purpose. So that is one clear, innovative approach using IT in securing and assuring the identity of a person over their parcel of land. Of course, as you've been reading on social media and some of our literature, we've pioneered in building and developing land such that we're not just after regularization of tenure by people, but we can participate in solving the housing problem in the country. So we have projects in Sentema, low-cost houses, and then we have the high-end in Chigo. Moderator, I could speak. And
thank you very much, Mr. Kizito Bashir. I know for sure that the recent case of Jennifer Nsubuga versus Michael Mukundani has fortified the position that Buganda Land Board is one of the stakeholders that we need to do due diligence with in land. A recent article by OHT AF Mpanga indicates that Buganda holds, out of the 93,000 square meters of Uganda, Buganda holds approximately 17,300 square miles, sorry, not meters, square miles. So Buganda holds about 5.48% of the land in Buganda. But despite your input and good land management measures, land wrangles and disputes continue to be massive in Buganda. I'll come back to you on that. Mr. Baker, I don't think he was making a soft ride for you. You are the Commissioner, Land Registration. You are going to take us the reforms under your docket and what efforts you're putting up in combating land fraud. It is critical, and it is good that Baker's last point was about using biometric measures. So when your brother dies somewhere and the hands are cut off and that fingerprint is stored to be used to transfer land, that will be another case. But fraud continues to be a key element. I want to confirm whether Mr. Peter Walubiri is online. He will be taking us through the legal issues. I want to confirm. Technical team, please confirm to me if he is online and listening in. As we get to him, Mr. Baker, critical to your discussion, I want you to also point out the opportunities. I know, and it's for a fact, that there are several land title projects, for instance, giving out free land titles. But we also know that there are foreign firms which have been retained to do such work, which means most lawyers here have been left out. So we need to know what opportunities, if you digitize or if you include digitalization of land registration processes, what opportunities are you leaving for the lawyers? Where do we get our bread? Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, fellow colleagues. I'll just start with talking about a very interesting aspect, that is of fraud, and how the Department of Land Registration is working with the government to mitigate fraud. An interesting question has been discussed both formally and informally about double titling and how it came about. It's important to note that the land information system that we are using currently, that is the governance tool, it's the one that highlighted this problem the most. Today, most of the titles that we are cancelling are titles that were issued then when we are still operating on a manual system. And what is the LIS? The LIS is a land governance tool that uses the geographical information system, geospatial data, a coordinated system that is able to link and do spatial analysis. It's a GIS-based system, meaning that for every title has to have a linkage on the cadastre. And what does the LIS bring out? The LIS brings out the aspect that, of course, most lawyers were ignoring, that the cadastre feeds into the title. That for a title to be genuine, it must be linked to the cadastre. What is the cadastre? I'm not following up this. I went straight to the question. What's the cadastre? The cadastre is the survey register. And the survey register shows us the plot number and the acreage and the block number. So among the new innovations that we have put up on the LIS and to mitigate fraud, you know that we have linked it to various MDAs. We have got linkages with the NIRA. That's why we request for union numbers to solve the problem of impersonation. We are also working with the judiciary to link it to the ISMIS, meaning that very soon these negotiations have begun. Court orders will be registered directly by the judiciary on our system. We have also engaged the Ministry of Water, and we have created a layer for them, whereby the protected areas and the zone areas will be surveyed, and then we'll have a layer on the LIS. And then there will be red bars or bar line, that when a title is created, and it's going within a protected area, it will not be able to be registered. It's important to appreciate that we are operating a decentralized land governance system. And because we are operating a decentralized land governance system, there are so many players within the land transaction conveyance belt. And there are a few areas, again, that I want to emphasize, which practicing lawyers need to know. For example, we got the Physical Planning Act of 2010. And under the Physical Planning Act, every district has a physical planning committee. By law, the Physical Planning Committee has a district surveyor, a district environment officer, a district land officer, and headed by a cow. Now, every title that is being created today and every subdivision goes through the Physical Planning Committee. Meaning that even some of these challenges that we are facing can be mitigated at that level. And why is this discussion important? That we have to look at a title through all those processes, but not only looking at the title register. Because a title is created through a conveyance belt. Now, on the conveyance belts that we have at the MZO, we have availed all these officers at the MZO. There's a land officer, there's a surveyor, there's a planner before the title goes to for actual registration. Of course, in the other changes that the LIS has done is that now we are going to have electronic delivery of the minutes of allocation directly from the district land boards to the MZO. Now we have also opened up public access of the information of the registrar through the public portals. We are at a testing stage whereby any member of the public will be able to view the records of the register. We are also able to offer you now online tracking of your transactions. If some of you have noted, when a transaction is ongoing and we registered your details, you receive messages on your phone that such a transaction is ongoing to enable you to alert law enforcement or the register of titles if you have any objections to that. As a matter of practice now, we require that for all transactions, the register of titles makes a cadastre parcel leakage. And why is this important? Because when you look at some of the minor titles that were surveyed then, most of them were surveyed using assumed coordinates. They don't like the geospatial coordinates of today. So you find that you have a minor title taxed for 20, 30 years, but it's not properly coordinated on the cadastre. Meaning that probably when another surveyor comes with the current coordinates, he may be able to survey where already a title exists. So as a consequence of this mandatory parcel leakage, we require for some of these titles to be resurveyed so that we make sure that we pick them on the cadastre. And then currently now, we have also computerized the Karamazu. Because one of the challenges that we are getting through fraud was the lack of supervision of the survey register, the Karamazu. Because most of the issues begin from there. So we are now having a system whereby this is also computer generated. Plot numbers are computer generated. So without a doubt, we have been able to use technology to sort out most of these issues. And contrary to what most people think or know, our LIS is the best south of the Sahara. This is a World Bank. And contrary to what, again, most people think or know, yes, it is true, we have a complicated land tenure system. We are unique. We have Milo land, which only exists in Uganda, in the entire world. We have freehold, we have leases, we have sublease. Of course, our tenure issues are different from our governance issues. We have been able to, through coordination and stakeholder engagement, been able to simplify the governance of the land register. And the other question you ask about the kind of free titles we are giving out, we noted that most of the land was registered by the British colonial government due to an initiative by government. Whereas now, registration is private sector driven. We appreciate the fact that if we are to have 95 of the land in the country registered, I think again it has to be a government-driven project. So we have been doing a few pilots through using systematic land education. Of course, these are donor sponsored, and they are bidded for through procurement systems. So the question that you've asked is, what are the opportunities that lawyers can get out of this? It is important to know that for every land manager today, or for every lawyer who is interested in advancing a career in land management, it is important for them to have some skills in the other aspects of the conveyor belt. For example, if you are operating a GIS system of land management, you can only appreciate it if you have some basic knowledge of survey. Can you, for example, look at a title and see irregularities and errors from a survey perspective? Can you look at it from the perspective of physical planning? Then are you able to have a component of all the same through non-principles of land governance? So that's where the profession is going to. I didn't talk about the other latest trends, legal trends, because I assume that most of our colleagues are aware about it. I have emphasized what the LIS is doing. Important to note the linkage with URSB, ISMIS, and NIRA. Recently, we are engaging also in some talks to introduce blockchain technology on the LIS. These are also studies that we are doing, and how blockchain works. It works in the sense that no particular transaction can be done by a single individual. They have to be consent by all the parties that are affected by that transaction. It has been successful in UAE, and I think also Sweden. And I think if we are successful on that, we'll be the first country in Africa to do that. Yes, we appreciate that there are challenges, but also for us to have an effective digital register, colleagues, you have to appreciate that we have to clean up the data. And that's why you're seeing a lot of cancellations. We are currently doing a big project in Mukono Emzo, where because of the lack of supervision of the cadastre, we had block overlays by the surveyor at that time. It has taken about 30 or 40 years. And we are going to rearrange and rectify over 500 titles, because we appreciate the fact that without a clean data, we can't have a perfect online system. So this is a continuing work in progress. The World Bank is appreciative of the strides that we have done. They have sent delegations here to learn from us. And we think that we'll get there, we'll have a perfectly good digital register. Thank you.
Thank you very much. From the cadastro, from the Kalamazo to the cadastro to the title, it is your opinion that Sim Katende here should tell the young lawyers that they need survey knowledge, and it is an opportunity for them to make money out of it.
Yes, and let me just explain the importance of this. When you look at a land title, there's a plot number. Where does it come from?
Survey.
There's a block number. Where does it come from?
Survey.
The area, the deed plan, where does it come from?
Survey.
Who signed that deed plan?
A surveyor.
The surveyor. Commissioner surveys and a cartographer. A title is actually a deed plan.
Thank you
the
very
title
much.
Is a deed plan.
Yes. Thank you very much. I'll be coming back to you. Technical team, please confirm to me that Mr. Warubir is online just for 1 minute to take us through a few issues here and there. As I come back to Mr. Bashir here, one of the burning questions is succession register. Today, so many of us young lawyers are approached by Ewan or Kero or Rema James saying they have land in Mitiana, which belongs to his great-great-grandfather. And when you go to URSB, they are saying, succession registers, Mengo. But the AG has also advised that that instrument is no longer good law, it's no longer operative. So you will be giving us something on that. Technical team, if Mr. Walubiri is online, most of you must know Mr. Walubiri. The joke, I don't know, but the thing about him is a court has once stood over to inquire from him for an opinion in the same matter where he is representing a party and a decision has been made against him and he is satisfied. Mr. Walubiri, what are the latest decisions in land law and how is the interplay of constitutional law, because these are your areas, on the future trends in the legal practice? Thank you.
Thank you, moderator. The courts have been active over the past many years, and I don't know what the society's interest, because they are a wide range of decisions. I think there's the most recent on the succession register. I was still internalizing it. But areas of interest have been areas of fraud, areas of the powers of the Commissioner Land Registration, areas of customary land, and the role of district land boards. I think the Constitutional Court, I think the case of Justice Cardino Kell and others versus many land boards in the north, is interesting about the holding that that land which was previously public land or customary leased out, the leases are expiring, and the district land boards were of the view that this is now part of the land under their jurisdiction. I think the Constitutional Court then held that this is the customary land which is outside of the purview of the district land boards, which the district land boards should just facilitate to register in names of the former customary owners. That decision has ramifications because there are even cases where people claimed to have customary land in urban areas. They got leases, the leases have expired, and the land boards, including those of cities, may not be able to touch them. Of course, it impacts on some issues of planning. That is a decision to watch and to see the ramifications. Now, on fraud, there has been this continuing debate on failure to pay adequate stamp duty, whether it is per se an element of fraud. If you buy land and you declare the purchase price and the value, it's valued, for example, it is developed land and it's not disclosed, and you pay less, and then there are allegations of fraud.
Sorry, what they are trying, because you know what? Sometimes they like
there was some interference, allegations of fraud, and the issue has been whether that per se constitutes fraud. If you look at the various decisions, and we don't have the time to analyze all of them, it looks as if the dicta from the courts is that the necessary stamp duty constitutes fraud as a ground and as a ground for cancellation of title. And that may be problematic, especially where the original fraud occurred, the land is transferred to a third party who is not privy to the original, say, forgery of a signature, and then you have this third party trying to cheat on taxes, but really, beyond that, he's not privy to the original fraud. If you look at the Stamps Act and what it provides for non-payment of stamp duty and what should be done with the instrument, it ought to be impounded, the full duty needs to be paid. But once that is done, it would appear that under the Stamps Act, one would come off clean. But the courts seem to be holding that if you do not pay adequate stamp duty, regardless of all other circumstances, that per se is fraud. And this is from the highest court, from the Supreme Court, and perhaps there will be opportunity to inquire further into that. There was this recent decision again on fraud and the liability of government, which looked interesting. Because the courts had set such a high standard on fraud that you need to inquire from neighbors, LCs, and the occupants, and so forth, which seems like not part of the philosophy of the Torrens register, because investigation should be largely on the register and perhaps on the land, not neighbors and LCs. Because if the LC is antagonistic to the registered proprietor or wants to buy the land for cheap, he may even discourage the potential buyers of the property. But this land where Skull had a title and had sugarcane, and then there was a rival title created, and the purchaser of the rival title was held to be bona fide. Seems to go outside that trend, because the trend was that inspect the land, talk to the occupants, find out their interest in the land, and before you buy. Here, somebody was buying land, there was sugarcane growing there, he didn't inquire into how the sugarcane was being grown, and he was just assured he would be given vacant possession, and he was held bona fide, and it looks curious. The other areas of interest deal with the whole issue, and the commissioner has talked about cleaning the register and cancelling titles. It has become a very big preoccupation of the office or the commissioner to cancel titles on grounds of error. And sometimes error is defined so broadly beyond a mere mistake to include aspects that may border on fraud. I think the Supreme Court has guided, but it is still interesting to see how, in real terms, this will be followed. There are cases where people have titles on forest reserves, environmentally sensitive protected areas. Now, if a title is issued on a swamp or on a forest reserve, is that a fraud? Is that an error? How far should we go in leaving this to the commissioner to handle? Because unfortunately for the commissioner, many of these cases of cancellation are ending up again in appeals and suits in the court. This is one of those areas that we need to watch and see how the law can develop.
Thank you, Senior.
I mean, I don't know how much time we really have, but a lot is happening.
I thought you had
sometimes we're
concluded.
moving in circles. But I think we can stop there for the time being.
This is a discussion we can continue on the different social media platforms. I know these offices are open. The commissioner here has an open door policy. But in your parting remarks, 30 seconds, because the Gen Zs are next, and I know they are burning. I'm glad that there is a representative from Judicial Service Commission. Some of these mistakes and errors are by your judicial officers. Mr. Bashir, in your parting remarks, briefly.
Thank you very much. We just want to encourage the public to welcome the advances in technology, but equally welcome the other innovations that are trying to improve the whole landscape in the land management area. Because we know that some of these modifications we're making, some of the advances that are coming up go a long way to rub the middle players the wrong way. So we want the public to appreciate them, to rally behind us and support these endeavors.
Thank
Uganda
you.
Land Board is an open
Thank you.
place, so people are encouraged to visit our offices in case they need to have any clarifications.
Those present here can still engage with him. He will be seated over there. Commissioner, 30 seconds.
Thank you. But what I talk about just one comment that Senior Counsel has talked about. That's the distinction between fraud and illegality. Yes, the Supreme Court has been clear on that. We wait to see how jurisprudence guides on that. But what we are doing at the ministry, there are some basic principles that we follow. For example, we know you can't have two titles in the same piece of land in the register, so that's an illegality, definitely. You can't have a title in a gazetted protected zone. That's an illegality. Of course, it's a double-edged sword, and like rightly said, that most of these things also end up in appeal. But at the back of our mind, you also know that we have to keep the sanctity of the register. I mean, we have to clean the register. We have an open door policy. I've engaged with most of you on some of these issues. And maybe what I forgot to talk about, that even in the use of Section 91, we have found ourselves doing a lot of mediations and parties settling, whereby we have amendments by consent. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next panel is the most burning panels, young lawyer discussion. Mr. Sim Katende is in the house. He used to be one of the hottest names during orals. I'm glad I went on his panel and satisfied him with my answer, and he let me go. Thank you very much, our panelists. The organizers, please, we shall welcome the next panel.
Yes, it's a good afternoon. Without further ado, DJ, I see people are slumbering. Could you please just give us 1 minute song? Let everyone stand up We are going for the young generation conversation. I need to see the energy projected in the room. Kindly, please, we have a young minister.